Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the piano concerto, The World of Yesterday, by Stephen Hough. Isn't that cool? You know, it's very, very interesting, I have to say. Amidst all the talk of the collapse of Western civilization and classical music being in the doldrums and all hell breaking loose, there are certain historical tendencies that seem to be reviving and which I find very heartening. And one of these is the art of the virtuoso composer who writes music for themselves. I mean, we see this. I mean, you've got Marc-André Hamelin, if you want to do it that way, who composes excellent piano music, largely for himself to play. And now we have Stephen Hough, and there are others. And I think we had Frederick Rzewski, the composer pianist. We had Kapustin. I think this is wonderful. And it's not necessarily new, but it's a revival of a way of artistic expression, a means of artistic expression, which seemed to be on the way out because at the beginning of the 20th century and leading therein as it wore on, the 20th century wore on, we saw more and more pianists who only played other people's music. And now we see pianists playing their own music, and other people can play it too. But it's just great. I think it's great, and they're good. That's the point. They're good. Stephen Hough is good. Ali Mustonen is a good pianist composer. I don't know how far this is going to go. You know, this particular school of artistic endeavor. But I watch it with great interest and enthusiasm, and I think it's something we should all be happy about. So the Concerto, The World of Yesterday, features the Hallé Orchestra under Marc conducting. It has 3 interconnected movements, and it's fun. It's not what you might call super heavy, profound symphonic concerto. It's lighter, but no less enjoyable for that. It's more like the Ravel G major concerto or something like that. It begins with a prelude, which has a lovely orchestral introduction, beautifully written with some delicate harp traceries and whatnot, leading to the entry of the piano in a big cadenza. After a couple minutes of that, we get a series of waltz variations, which are quite brief. It's only 3 minutes and 43 seconds. And the waltz it's a wonderfully wistful, bittersweet tune that has a couple of very easy to follow variations appended to it. And this leads to a big finale, which is a 10 minutes long finale, a tarantella appassionata. It's not a tarantella of the, da 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 da. It's not. It's tarantella rhythm, tarantella infused and inspired, but it doesn't sound, strictly speaking, like, Italian folk music or anything like that. It's not tacky. It's fun. It's brilliantly written for the soloist. The whole work takes about 20 minutes, so it's short. It never outstays its welcome. It's well scored, it's nicely orchestrated, and of course, Stephen Hough plays the daylights out of it. So what could possibly be bad? After that, we have his Sonatina nostalgica. Now, again, you get this sense, though, that he's kind of looking backwards. We have his yesteryear and his nostalgic. And, I would love to see him write the Sonatina futuristica. Because now that we know that the future is not going to be nothing but dodecaphonic nonsense or sort of avant-garde screech bloop, we could look forward to the future with a little bit more enthusiasm, I think, at least musically. And I would be very curious to have the, Sonatina AI. That would be interesting. Who knows what might happen. Anyway, this is a tiny little work. It's about 4 minutes and some odd seconds long and 3 movements. And it has titles. The movements always have titles. I wish they would just call them 1, 2, and 3 and let us guess. I do, but if the composers want to tell us what their proximate inspiration was, whether or not the music sounds like it, or whether we have any means of knowing whether the music sounds like it, well, that's their prerogative. So the movements are the road from Danebank, or Danabank, or something like that, the beach by the dam, and a gathering at the cross. Well, that's serious. It would be, well, let's put it that way. It would be serious if it lasted longer than 1 minute and 44 seconds, but that's okay. Again, the music is quite charming, and it's a sonatina. It's a little jeu d'esprit, followed by a larger partita in Baroque form, obviously. It begins with a wonderful version of a French overture, with French overtures, as Handel used them and whatnot, or the French overtures began with a sort of a march in very jerky rhythms, or the Bach orchestral suites, dum, ba-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Well, this isn't quite like that. This is a genuine, more sort of military, popular style, Prokofiev-ish kind of march, and then a contrapuntal passage afterwards, a fugal thing, which he does. And then we've got a bunch of little movements, a capriccio, 2 songs and dances, canción y danza. They don't sound particularly Spanish, but that's what he calls them. And a concluding virtuoso toccata. And it's a wonderful piece. I mean, it's just incredibly enjoyable. And it's all played deliciously. So 3 works, 1 for piano and orchestra, 2 for solo piano, superbly recorded, superbly played. And they establish Hough as a composer, if not, a great composer in the heavy-duty sense of, German transcendental profundity or pretentiousness, but rather as a virtuoso composer who writes lovely works that play to his strengths and are well worth hearing. And it's all on Hyperion, so I would give this a shot. I think you'll be quite pleased. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.